Here we are for the 3 ways. I know I change spot every day in different places at home because we escape from sometimes to recover and to connect with the 3 ways. So I'm waiting for the 2 incredible ones, hypnotherapists from America, Sandy and Glenn. Hi guys. And today the topic is always deep. Today is the kitchen place, which always is. Ciao Sandy, ciao Glenino. Nice to see you.
Hi guys.
Hello.
How are you guys?
I'm laughing so hard at what you said, Francesca. You're like, sometimes you just have to escape your family. I'm like, we should just end it there because that's the answer.
To be honest, I do thank God there are different levels in here because sometimes it's a bit intense. Nothing against fun, but sometimes we need our space.
There you go. That's the answer. Have a nice day, guys. You figured it all out.
No.
And my father was asking me, where are you going? Don't worry. So, guys, how is it going, your Christmas holiday? I mean, holiday time, maybe. I don't know. You work always. I know.
Glenn,
Yes,
how's your holiday time?
I'll just be here. I'm not doing super fancy. I just saw my family not go. But I am going next week to and we're taking Olivia to swim with otters next week.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, we're going to a farm called Blue Hills Ranch, and she's going to feed a kangaroo with a little bottle. She's going to swim with live otters, and she's so happy. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Are you going to
So cool.
get in the water? Are you going to get in the water with the otters?
Yeah, 2 of us. It's for 2 people, so I'm going to swim with otters with her.
Very cool.
Can we please get a picture of you feeding a baby kangaroo?
I know. Yeah. I'll take a picture of her. She'll be feeding a baby kangaroo. We'll do a safari trip they have. Yeah. Then we'll hang out in Dallas for a couple of days. It'll be amazing. That's
nice.
That's kind of my Christmas trip.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I'll be here working like I always am.
See it.
Well,
Really nice.
You, Sandina?
Are you
Also with fun, with your amazing children. The 2, we don't forget there too.
Yes, I have 2 children that I know of.
We never know.
You never know. So this is the time of year where I do overnight shift after overnight shift after overnight shift at the radio station because, you know, I've been in radio most of my career. I used to be full-time. I did morning shows and everything, but now I fill in whenever they need somebody here at Light FM. And in December, it's all of the overnight shifts. So literally what you're looking at is about 3 hours of sleep. That's, yeah, it's pretty insane. And after this, I'm literally working back to back until 6:30 tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still Thursday, right? So.
Wow, Sandy.
How did we do that? I don't know. I have no idea what happened. You brought the magic spirits.
I can't believe it.
I don't know what I did. I didn't touch anything. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
Wow. Again, what I do, I went like this. I don't know what I did.
Oh my God, I loved it. Glenn, did you see it?
No. I missed it.
There were fireworks behind Sandy.
There were yeah.
Oh, we'll see if it's on the replay.
Now
I want to watch the video again and I will discover what happened. I can't believe it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So I don't even remember what I was saying because I was saying it's Thursday. So our time tonight at 10:27, it turns to winter. For you, it's winter technically Friday, right?
Okay.
In London. And no, for you, Glenn, it would be.
I'm in Sicily at the moment. 16 degrees, which is very humid, so it's not too cold, but for Sicily it's cold. I mean, they're used to 20 degrees all the time, most of the time.
Very cool. So this week's topic, we've been kicking it down the road. But if you guys are, unless you brought something else to the table, we had talked weeks ago about talking about medical stuff.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I think it's very interesting because we all have in our surroundings, and maybe us, we generalize problems that are we are mentally, of course, disturbed, and hypnosis can truly heal those kind of problems, which I find very magical. So if you want, guys, it's an amazing topic.
Heal is a really wonderful word because it does occur. And I know, Glenn, you and I have the exact same training. We were taught in a really strong way to not say that we heal or fix anything or cure anything. We use the word treat because for legal purposes, we treat things, right?
Who cares about legal purposes?
Don't.
I know, guys, I love being naughty, but I say what I feel. I don't care about legal stuff, so it's my fault.
No, I actually love it. It's really refreshing because I've got stories to share today that are definitely miracles, that are definitely healing, that are definitely curing, that are definitely all those things. But again, we don't claim it. We treat things, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Absolutely. Yeah. I truly believe that healing is the real magic of medical purposes because it's about healing the first stage. So it's it's not so problematic, and sometimes medicines can make you so addictive and can destroy other parts of your body, even part of your brain. So it's always positive to talk about hypnosis because it touches the first stages of illnesses, so it's always positive.
Yeah, all right.
Two parts as we go into this. The two parts of healing is this: when you help somebody release a fear or a phobia, or overcome a challenge in life, is that not healing mental health? That is a form of healing mental health. And then we have the physical aspects that can happen when we use the mind-body connection. So all of that is really important to consider as we start sharing stories. So Sandy, give us some of your tops.
I love what you said, and if people really understood your point, Glenn, regardless of the words we use or your specific story, it always comes down to we've got to address the underlying, whether it's anxiety, stress, or interpretation, perception. Bruce Lipton, oh wow, I can't remember the name of the book, but look at Bruce Lipton, one of the Bruce Lipton books about how cells work. And after all this scientific study and research over all these decades, bottom line, what it comes down to is you've got a cell membrane. And how does something get through the cell membrane for some people and mess them up, and has other people not get in and not mess them up? And when it comes down to it, the cells let something in or don't let something in based on perception. And so at the end of all the scientific research, he said, so really when you want to heal, when you want to make those changes and not just put band-aids, when you really want to heal, you've got to do the mental work, bringing down anxiety levels, which come from, people think coping is what we're supposed to learn. Coping means you're interpreting things differently than they are because your inner being never sees it that way, right? So healing really is when you get aligned with that calm part of you, with that love part of you. So anything that's stressful or anxiety ridden is all based on perception. So we're letting the bad stuff in. Interesting, right?
On thoughts then, because perceptions can also be related to senses. So maybe in this case it's thoughts, the brain.
Yeah. So science has now sort of come to understand that. Ready for a story about medical stuff? Okay, so it comes in two parts and I'm going to go backwards. Just the other week, which is why I said, oh, you guys, we got to talk about this topic. A guy I saw years ago, he was afraid of the dentist and he had to get some dental surgery, right? So I worked with him for a few weeks and then it was successful. Put that story aside because a few weeks ago he contacted me. Haven't seen him in years. And he said, craziest thing, I have this new dental issue. And he said, I didn't call you about it. I just was like, let me suck this up. He said, I was scared. He said, as I sat down in the dentist chair, this incredible calm came over me that was completely unexpected. He said, and I started to hear your voice in my head. He said, and it was just like, it was beyond, I get goosebumps. He said, beyond conscious awareness, my body knew what to do. My mind knew what to do, because 1,000 times over and over, I repeated for the few weeks I worked with him while he was in hypnosis. And when you lay back in the chair, and when the calm will take over your body, we repeat this, the mind rehearses it. Literally years later, he didn't do any work, any prep before going to the dentist, and boom, it all was hypnotically. It's just wired. That chair has now become a place that makes him not only okay, but high, like feeling amazing without the drugs.
Yeah.
Really cool, right?
Amazing.
But there's
yes, that's why people traveling, guys, they feel so excited. The serotonin increases and they don't need drugs anymore. Why the rehabs are always in nature, or most of the time, in beautiful places? Because the beauty that is outside that you live is the substitution of the drug, because the drug is something is lacking, something is missing. So why do we have drug addiction in the cities more than in the countryside? It's obvious, because it's a lack of serotonin, which is not dopamine. It's different, as we know.
Right. So we are working with drugs, but the brain is releasing its own drugs.
Yeah.
The good kind. So I recently was working with a client. She had two major issues. One was relationships. The other was career. She said, let's not do the career stuff. That's too big and bad. Let's just focus on relationship, which we did for a few weeks. And again, miracle stories that I could tell you forever, but it all started turning around. So then she contacted me again after a few months, and she said, I am such a master of relationships now. She said, I have no fear this now relationship that's going really well for her. She said, I have no fear of it working out or not working out. I know how to be, I know what to do. She said, it's the greatest thing. I never knew I had agency over my own life this way. Too bad careers aren't the same way. I said, says who? You decided that you had agency over your relationships, but not career. It's the same. It's you doing the work. And she said, but how is it that no matter what I face with relationships now, I'm so good? And now I just think about my career and I freak out. And I said, because literally it's hypnotically associated. So the trigger would be any kind of relationship thing, a negative conversation, or, whatever the outside trigger is now wired in your brain to have a calm response, to have hypnotically a different chemical go through your brain. So when you are about relationship, thinking relationship, in relationship, different chemicals are being released in your brain. That's a hypnotic association, and that lasts.
Yeah,
that lasts.
Hypnotic is life. I don't understand why people find hypnosis so weird and so dark. Maybe because, of course, they get all those videos which are very funny in the media. Hypnosis is life. We get hypnotized every day. Even when you talk to someone, when you jump in the ice to avoid thinking, that's an hypnotic moment.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
People are so fearful of what they don't know because, it's ignorance.
Well, it's happening already. Every day we're influenced. Our suggestibility is open to commercials, to our friends, to the world around us.
Yeah.
To a doctor giving you a horrible comment about how long you may or may not have this condition for, then all of a sudden your entire mental health changes, the disease gets worse. And we all accept that the mind, the funny thing about the traditional medical world is we accept that stress creates high blood pressure. We accept that stress creates ulcers. I mean, the only reason an ulcer is there is because of your mental health. Stress creates ulcers, that buildup of acid in your stomach. We all accept, so the mind did that. The stomach didn't do it. Your anxiety, the way you relate to your emotions, created a medical problem within your stomach due to creating more acid. So if the mind can create a physical problem, it can also shift a physical problem. And it's mind-blowing to me that we only see one side of the coin, when the other side of the coin, high blood pressure, well, obviously if an organ is not functioning properly, that can cause high blood pressure too. But generally, high blood pressure is caused from stress. And we know ulcers are 100% caused from stress and worry. And mental health worsens through stress and worry.
Absolutely.
You can use a feature to shift it, where when we release the stress and worry and learn to meditate and practice mindfulness, well, then the ulcers can go away. Well, then the high blood pressure can also go away when we learn to stop going there and putting our body into these horrible states of fight or flight due to stress. But they don't, it's still not taught much.
I was thinking, even lack of stress can create stress, because when we have avoidance or emptiness and we do nothing, we are not stressing, but we stress sometimes. So we could say that what we feed ourselves on and off, we become in any possible way.
You are so right, because the body, for so many people, seeks stress because stress itself is a drug. It gives us things that feel good, like adrenaline and dopamine.
Exactly.
People subconsciously seek stress because without it, they're not getting that drug. I can tell you this story 1,000 times over. Glenn, you work with addicts and recovering addicts every day, or often. Somebody who was an alcoholic, would consider themselves, I am an alcoholic, but a recovering alcoholic, right? So they've been sober for years. They've overcome an addiction. And then they come to me, not for alcohol, that's fine. They've been sober for years. The problem is they get so stressed out at work. I see this time and time again. I mean, beyond normal stressed out at work. And you're like, how is it that you're stressed out in this position, but other people in the world have your same position and they're not responding the same way as you? What happens is they've traded one drug for the other. They've traded the stimulation they get from alcohol to what it is they're getting from the chemicals from fight or flight. So they're subconsciously creating stressful situations to continue to get a drug. So are they really no longer addicts, or did they just trade one drug for another? And so that's where we begin our work. It's really fascinating stuff.
So fascinating, because sensitivity comes from suffering, feeling sensible because of the suffering, and then you become sensitive to pleasure. People that never suffer, they take drugs because somehow they need to suffer. Drugs in any way can be, external or internal, something you take, but truly the sensitivity you reach comes from suffering and then goes to pleasure. How can you be sensitive to pleasure if you never suffered? So people go into this dark mood, destroying themselves because they don't know how to manage this sensitivity approach.
I think there's a healthier way to frame these words. Like, Jackie wrote, like, stress helps her get things done. But the truth is, I don't think the right word is stress. We do need our physical bodies. We need to put pressure on our bones through exercise so we don't get osteoporosis. Putting bones into stress makes them stronger. But I don't think stress is the right way to look at it. And we need challenges. We absolutely need challenges, and we need to put some type of physical pressure and some kind of emotional charge into our lives to achieve.
It's absolutely required, and that's the difference between threat stress and challenge stress. So when you work out, you tear your muscle, that is good because it helps it build back. But if somebody took a knife and cut your muscle, that's too much. So you need a little bit of it. You need a little bit of it, and that's good for you. Just like you get a little bit of a vaccine, and that's good for you. But if you get a lot of the bad germ, that's bad for you. So it's not an all or nothing situation. It's understanding. Also, when Jackie said that, I can't see the comment anymore, but that stress helps her get stuff done, what you're talking about is a misinterpretation of what's going on. It's helping you focus. Focus is what gets stuff done. Focus is our tool of creation. So if it's nudging you into focus, that's why people like deadlines. But listen to that word, deadline. There are other ways of
Yeah, because we grew up with deadline at work. Mamma mia, this systematic world is destroying everyone. We should only have spiritual schools. That's it. It's okay.
Could be like I use fear. So if I have like an event coming up, or there's something I'm feeling stressed or worried or fearful about, it just means I have to prepare more. For me, it's to prep more, and then that stress and anxiety goes away. So we can use it as a signal, but we don't want to use it to control our lives, because what happens is fear and stress will just sit in the fear and stress, let it compound, then it's really unhealthy. But if you turn it into what you said, a challenge stress, a challenge fear, where it's like, all right, I'm worried about this. Well, prepare more. Okay, prepare more. Now that fear just served me, and the fear is gone because my preparation overcame that. Yeah. And I like that challenge stress versus, what was the first one?
Threat.
Just do it.
Threat stress is the bad kind. Challenge stress is the good kind. Now look at something like curiosity. We've talked about this before. Curiosity might be one of the best ways to live ever. If we all just lived in our curiosity, it's like being children. So curiosity is good, but curiosity, listen to what I'm saying, curiosity is a form of stress. There's something in me that makes me need to know what's on the other side of that. That's a tiny form of stress, but it's good for you, stress.
Sorry, I'm sure you will agree. Curiosity with no living, because if you're curious about everything and you don't live it, curiosity is, you become fucking sick, with probably the word fucking sick. Why? If you live what you're curious about, it's not mental anymore.
This is just physiological. They teach this in FBI training. When you're eliciting information from people, you just pique a level of curiosity, because the brain can't handle a cliffhanger. It has to fill in the blanks. It has to know what's next to relieve that anxiety. Here's a package. It's all wrapped up. Don't open it. So even curiosity is a form of stress, but that's challenge stress on the smallest level. And it's good for you. You want an amount of that.
Coffee stress out of your life. Yeah, I agree. Even though there's nothing, not one of the chemicals in coffee is meant for relaxation, but I love it. So I can't.
Well, think about it. If coffee makes you go to the bathroom.
Big time. But I wonder how people in Sicily have coffee after dinner and then they go to bed. I don't know how they do. I would be waking up all night.
What
Yes.
I do understand about that is the 20-minute version. I read about this. If you drink a shot of espresso and take a 20-minute nap, they say that's the perfect way to do it, because you're still tired and it takes about 20 minutes for that to start to kick in. So you'll get a really good nap. And when you wake up from your nap, you've got a burst of energy. That's what they say.
This was night. Right before bed.
Yeah, but that,
yes.
Yeah, right before bed doesn't make sense. Somebody earlier in the comments said that music relaxes them or makes them feel better. Absolutely. Music is one of a list of things that help release dopamine in the brain. Breathing, pranayama, like yoga breathing exercises, is another one. Meditation in and of itself releases dopamine, same as music. Hypnosis and self-hypnosis release dopamine, going for a walk, which is why, I don't know if you guys have ever set out on a hike. You know, hiking is walking. And when you first go, you're sort of normal. Like, you're like, okay, yeah, I've got this hike in front of me going on and I've got my water bottle. It's sort of normal. But at some point during that hike, things become more beautiful. The color of a flower starts to pop. Something in the scent of the air. It's not that it's better when you're further in hiking. Somebody could have started at that further point. It's the amount of time you spent moving the body, the juices get flowing, and then certain amounts of dopamine get released, and we actually see and experience and perceive the world differently. So music can do the same thing. Yeah.
Music is the best drug, in my opinion. You can fall in love and fall out of love also with music. Because you listen to a song that you relate to, and maybe you have been suffering. Of course, we're not talking about true love, but in general, when you have these infatuations, I can see it along, experiences along also these workshops. When we listen to a song that is related to your story, and it tells you exactly what's happening and is not fair, even a song can make you fall out of love or make you fall in love. I think it's a real drug, because it gives you these frequencies that truly can enter your body system, as we always say, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And Glenn, I don't know if you had this experience, but remember when we were all younger and we'd hear the love song, we think about that guy or about that girl. And somebody pointed out, and I was like, oh my God, that's so true. That's why I want to know, Glenn, if you had this experience too. They said after you have kids, then when you hear love songs, you're thinking about your kids when you hear those songs. Is that true for you too?
No.
Maybe it's a mom thing.
Grandi, romantic, grandi, dai.
Oh, I don't about my kids. These are love songs. Kids are kids.
I want to talk a little bit about, we started this earlier and just bringing it back to the science of how hypnosis can work in the medical world. And I did not say replace. I just got foot surgery and I would do it again. Right? But we work with. All right. So, you know how when you eat processed foods, Francesca, you're a pro at this. When you eat processed foods, one of the reasons it's bad for you is because when you look at a whole food, that whole food comes with its own digestive enzymes. So you eat a whole food and it has the whole package that your body can just break it down. It comes in one place. But a processed food doesn't have those enzymes. So your body goes, oh no, I don't have the right tools for this. Hang on. And it starts pulling resources from other parts of your body to break it down. And just like we talked about with stress, a little bit of that is fine. A little bit of processed food, nothing bad's going to happen. Your body does have those resources and they do replenish. But when you eat too much processed foods, it starts to wreak havoc because you're using up resources that you don't have. You're out of gas and there's no gas station kind of thing, right? Or maybe you get too much gas.
Very true.
So, now, when it comes to food, that's understandable. But now when you relate it to stress, it's the exact same thing. So a little bit of stress is good for you. But when you have too much stress, and you can read books by Dr. Sarno, he talks about this and he's fantastic. John Sarno. So he talks about how it's that same idea where now you've got too much stress going on and the brain starts to go into fight or flight, which shuts down certain systems. Therefore, the amount of oxygen flow gets cut off to certain areas of your body. That's how it turns into physical problems. For different people, it's different. But doctors don't know to test for, are you getting less oxygen to this area? They're just doing an MRI or an X-ray. They don't get it.
We can give oxygen with our energy as to people, as to food. I did this amazing training with Gilles, an amazing god of light. And of course, I've been learning this along my experience of food therapy sessions, but also with him, I had the proof that we can give energy to food and we can transform processed food into oxygen, energetical food.
Yes.
And it's beautiful, even for poor people. Imagine if they could learn this light work to give light to the food they eat, and they could eat good food, because we can influence everything, as we know.
Yes.
We can influence humans. Imagine food.
Yes, and you don't need special angels and you don't need magic. It's your subconscious mind that's just running the system.
The energy.
When you tell the subconscious mind, reopen that valve, or, that's how we work. It runs the system. You're right.
I would say.
It's magic, but for people who don't believe in magic, the science of it is we have this nerve called the vagus nerve, okay? And it connects your heart and your brain and your digestive system.
Yeah.
And when we get too stressed, it cuts off the bridges to those places. That's why so many people have digestive issues due to stress. And then it becomes a pattern. And then the body doesn't know what to do even in good times because it patterned to the wrong stuff. So through something like hypnosis, it reopens those channels and that communication. It's not magic, but it is. But it's not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people see magic is real. No, magic is real life, guys. Yeah.
Are you ready to hear? Remember I told you earlier in the conversation about the guy who came to see me about dental surgery, and it was only just a few weeks ago, but it's been years, he said, and I forgot all about it, and I just sat down in the chair and this instant calm took over me. I have to thank you again for the work we did all those years ago. I want to tell you about the work we did all those years ago. Two amazing things that came out of it. So week after week, he would come and we would rehearse over and over again in detail. It's called systematic desensitization. You've got somebody in a hypnotic state and you take them through moment by moment, day by day, and you place hypnotic commands throughout their day. So then when they're walking down the street and they see that street sign, instantly it starts to release chemicals in the brain. It's a lot of fun. So we did it over and over, and then you get in the dentist chair and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So at this point when I was working with him, my partner, Jen, was pregnant. And I had been repeating over and over again. And even though your eyes will be closed and you may be in deep sleep, when your mind and your body sense that you are being wheeled through the threshold into the operating room, everything will go calm and everything will go comfortably numb and safely numb. And I did it over and over again. And when you experience going through the threshold into the operating room, these sensations will take over even beyond conscious awareness. There's nothing for you to do. There's nothing for you to remember. I repeated it over and over and over. So then Jen, my partner, was giving birth and she needed a C-section in real life.
Yeah.
It was all during the same time. So Jen's already in, and they had to take my phone from me and give me the hairnet and put the thing over my shoes so I could go into the operating room when they were taking the baby out of Jen. And I walked in real life. I walked through the threshold into the operating room, and my knees buckled and I fell into the wall.
What?
And they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you afraid of the sight of blood?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what." Oh, and then I heard my own voice saying it and I went, "Oh my God." Once I knew, I was fine, and I knew, and I just enjoyed the feeling. I had to just tell myself, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. But I thought that was, it was really neat. Like it really works. Yeah.
My phone was dying, so I had to charge it. Sorry, guys, if I... Glenn, what do you think?
Yeah, well, and I've used hypnosis in many ways when it comes to medical stuff. One of the things I do, and it works amazing in front of a group, it's a special technique I do called the arrow technique for pain management and pain releasing. I did it last weekend, and you can take somebody's pain from a level 8, level 10 to 0, gone. I did it on my last live group, and this one was in severe back pain. And then she opens up her eyes and it's gone. I've done it with arthritis pain. I've done it with all kinds of pain. Now, it doesn't always, the mind is interesting because it's not 100% guarantee it's going to work every time, but it always reduces the pain, and many times it permanently gets rid of the pain. You know, my favorite hypnotist is a faith healer called Benny Hinn. You guys know Benny Hinn?
Mm-hmm.
The guy
No.
goes fire, and people fall on his stage, and his whole service is one giant hypnotic induction. And then when he pulls you on stage, you know, there's the ushers behind you. He'll like touch your forehead, and you'll fall, and they'll catch you. You are now out of pain. You know, God is going to heal you. Now he's a piece of shit because he does that for God. You know, he's just a stage hypnotist pretending to be healer. That's all he is. And when I meet this piece of shit, we will have that conversation. But he lies and says he's a man of God, but he's using hypnosis to detach people from their pain. You know, pain is subjective. I think we've all had this experience where all of a sudden we see blood on our shirt. And we're like, blood? Who's bleeding? Then you look at your arm, you realize you cut it on the counter, and the second you see your arm, you go, oh my gosh, it hurts, ow. How is that possible? It happens all the time. Because pain it's real, but it's also subjective. Very subjective. And we can detach from pain the same way we can do painless childbirth. The same way in hypnosis, I can run a flame under somebody's arm and they don't feel the fire. Or they can hold ice cubes and think they're warm. So our mind can detach from pain. And in that special pain removal technique, spiritual God, Mimi? God, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't read. I can read now. Spiritual goddess Mimi. DM me and I can turn you on to that technique.
Imagine those people that walk on fire, on those stones full of fire, like all those monks, because of course, first of all, they practice with pain, which is external, which is better in my opinion than internal, because internal is more difficult to get rid of. Then you heal yourself is fine, but it's about practicing it. So how to deal with it, as we do internally, we do it externally.
People are hypnotizing themselves to stay in painful relationships for decades. Think about that. Think
That's
about
true.
that.
But there's so many things we can do with this gift of our mind. So detaching from pain. When I do this particular technique, you think I'm healing the person. And that I'm actually not here. In a sense I am, but I'm not, because I'm just detaching them from pain. And that in itself does provide healing because you get relief. But there are, there's all kinds of stories. Like Sandy's foot healed quicker than it normally would have because using guided visualization, using hypnosis to speed up healing. It happens all the time when it comes out of surgery, when you come to, there's so many ways we can use this gift for healing.
Self-heal.
I'm going to make a video on this next year, but I have it. I had, and the key word is had, a 55% blockage in my carotid artery. And I have a scan, an ultrasound showing that.
No,
I have an ultrasound scan from 2 weeks ago that shows 0 stenosis, no blockage.
Okay.
And the American Heart Association says you cannot reverse carotid artery disease. And they're absolutely 100% effing wrong. So we can do all kinds of things using, I've used Ayurveda, and I also used this gift of visualization, seeing it clear, seeing it open. And the scan proves it's open.
There it is. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
There, and so all to your point of the subconscious mind is running all these systems, and we have more agency than we think. So back to the dental client from those years ago, back when I was hypnotizing him for the dental surgery, one of the things I also mentioned over and over again in the hypnosis is when you sense that the incision is being made, right? Because he'll be under, but still the subconscious mind is aware. So I'm talking just to the subconscious mind. So you, the subconscious mind, when you become aware that the incision, they're cutting you up and the incision is being made, the blood will naturally move away from the incision site to make a clean incision. And then when you recognize the feeling of it being stitched back up at the end, additional blood will flow toward the incision site to help instant and quick healing. And don't be surprised, is what I say in hypnosis, don't be surprised when you hear the doctor saying, wow, what a good job I did. Because they will be amazed at how clean the work was. They'll get it done faster. They'll get it done in best practices way because your body is working with the doctor, right? So
that's why
don't
it's
be
very important
surprised.
to take care of the heart with emotionally, because that's where the blood starts streaming and goes everywhere, bumping from the heart. So it's very important in this case to also tell our friends to take care of emotions which are related to this chakra, which is the heart. So if you take care of your heart, your blood stream would be so different.
Your personality is too, because the only reason people feel toxic and act toxic is because their blood is toxic.
Exactly.
So it's all associated. So I said, this is going to happen with the blood, and then don't be surprised when you hear the doctor commenting about what a great job they did. So he comes out of hypnosis, he's laughing. He's like, oh, really? Like my doctor is going to start bragging. I said, yes, because it's that profound for the doctor. Your body is going to be a profound experience for the doctor. He said, you want to make a bet on that? I said, yes, I do. He said, I will bet you $5 that he's not going to say that, because there's no way you can have control over what my doctor says. I said, I can have a whole bunch of control about how your doctor has an experience of you. So I'm taking the bet. $5 says your doctor says that. So he said, I'm going to record it. He did. He recorded it. He sent me the recording. It was like word for word what I said. The doctor was talking to another doctor and said, this is the best job I've ever done.
Amazing.
Yeah, he has the recording of it. Legit, he sent it to me with $5 and I took it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of amazing things that we can do with hypnotherapy when it comes to health, when it comes to speeding up health, managing pain. Pain is a big thing that we can do with hypnotherapy. And if you think about it, the ability to put a flame under somebody's arm and have them not feel it, it's amazing. I mean, obviously, when you wake them out of hypnosis, they're going to feel it and be pretty pissed that you burned them. But they don't feel it. I've done it so many. I only do it with people that I know that won't get mad afterwards. But I've done
You've
it
done
so many.
fire with people?
Do you not watch my YouTube videos? Yes.
I guess not. No.
Yes, with the lighter is amazing. I love these videos. See, Sandy, you must have seen it.
No.
I'm a little disappointed. Francesca knows and you don't. Well, you're cut off, Sandy. No.
That's cool. The most I've ever done is pinch somebody, and they don't feel it.
A video where I have it right under their arm, and that's it. I've burned people's hair, and there's one girl. The first time I did it, my apartment, my old apartment, and some people thought it was Olivia because this girl was blonde and looks like Olivia, but I had her right under her arm, and I'm realizing I'm singeing her hair, so I'm like, oh crap, the room smells like burning hair. But yeah, it didn't feel a thing. They didn't flinch, they didn't move. Not a thing.
Me also,
really cool.
I don't get hurt easily. I had piercing on my belly in the past. I never, I have a tattoo behind my neck. I never feel any pain when they touch my body. It's incredible. And at the same time, I'm super sensitive. And if I see the blood, I faint. So it's very weird.
But that's also a form of hypnosis because your mind made it mean something.
Yeah,
right?
I suppose. Yeah, it's very incredible, the body situation, sensations.
Did I tell you the bridge story from like 3 weeks ago? I don't know if I did or not. My bridge story.
I don't know.
I don't particularly like driving over bridges. I'm not like super afraid, but I'm also not comfortable. There's one on-ramp to go to LAX where you go really high on this bridge, up and over, and it's very thin and narrow, and I'm also like, we're in LA, so one earthquake, we're all falling off this bridge. And so I always get a little nervous, so I use my anchor and I center myself, and I do my color, and I get through it, but I'm not very comfortable. I did a session for this gentleman on fear of, he has a fear of heights, fear of driving on bridges. I'm like, boy, I can relate. So I did his session, and then when I went to the airport, like the week after that, I went on that same bridge, and I was preparing myself to use my anchor. I'm preparing myself to deal with the nerves, but the nerves never changed. And I'm like, oh my God, I just hypnotized myself through that session for him. And I totally felt I don't even need to use my color. It was crazy cool. Crazy cool.
Exactly. And that's the same thing as when I sort of started to fall down when I walked through the threshold into the operating room. We hypnotize ourselves as hypnotists.
Yeah.
We do. I feel like in some ways, every time session, it's like I'm hearing that session at the same time. And I feel like I'm always in a state of meditation or hypnosis because every time we're giving, it's like we're talking through an issue. It's like we're hearing those same suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. People ask me if I listen to my own hypnosis recordings for myself.
Yeah.
And I say all the time. They're like, really, you do? I say, yeah, because I have no idea what I said. I have no idea what I said. No, they're new to me every time because you are in that state. That's where you're getting that information, right? It's pretty neat.
I believe we always know what we say, but maybe we don't recognize what we are saying because we visualize. I believe we are very similar here. So maybe sometimes, yes, it's our visualization that make us speak, which is very beautiful, I believe.
Yeah, it's whether you want to use the word channeling or downloading or hooked in. Yeah, exactly. Glenn, you were starting to say you don't listen to your own recordings in the HypnoVault?
Sometimes I do. A lot of the times I don't because it's a very strange experience for me to listen to my own voice. One, I judge myself. I'm like, oh, your pacing was a little fast here. You could have waited another second. And then sometimes I go, I knew you were going to say that. Well, of course you did because you recorded it. So my mind plays these games on me, which takes me out of the moment. Sometimes I do, though, and I can let go and just be in it. but it's more challenging for me to hear my own voice within the session itself. So you don't have that issue, it sounds like.
You know what, though? I've also been a live broadcaster for over 30 years. So I got like, I'm used to seeing and hearing myself and seeing when my hair is like all like it is today, you know, like I'm like, whatever. I don't care. So I sounded like a mouse. Oh, I said the wrong word. Like it doesn't have an effect on me anymore. I don't care. I just be like, oh, I made a mistake, but I don't attach to the pain. There's no, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
all right. Well, I think we're about at that mark because we don't want to hit the full.
yeah.
We're trying to get better time limit on our time.
Our
Good. All right. I want
to say, Franci, we watch the podcast in two nights because I have very close friends that watch it all the time, and we understand 1 hour is a lot, but it's impossible for us to talk less because we love sharing and connecting together online. So guys, understand us.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes our best stuff comes out at the end when we think we're done anyway. They say that about meditation too.
Yeah.
Like when your timer goes off, if you feel like just remaining there, remain there. That might be the best part of your meditation. Right? Pressure's off, I guess, right? Real quick, I want to say my season 2 of the Rockstar Changemaking podcast recently came out. The episode that came out yesterday about mastermind sales techniques and mastermind relationship communication techniques is like blowing the roof off. People are loving it. So please check it out. This very last episode about sales on the Rockstar Changemaking podcast is amazing. So thank you. And this is the Three Ways podcast.
Sandy, sell me this pen.
You want me to sell you that pen right now?
Just said you made a thing on sales. Sell me this pen.
I love that you asked me that question, Glenn, because the last thing I'd ever try to do is to assert my will on you. So let me just ask you, if you were looking for a pen, what is it that you'd want in a pen?
I'd want to come with a really, really hot girl.
Wait, you would want a pen with a hot girl? Yeah. Well, then we're sold because there's the pen and there's Francesca. So boom!
I would like a light on my pen to write during the night. I'm so intellectual, you know, because I have to write all night. No, I
love the whole pen. I love that whole thing. Yeah. The scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where they're doing that, and the guys, obviously you both saw The Wolf of Wall Street, right?
No.
No. So he's doing this pen technique with his staff, and his friend goes, okay, let me borrow that pen. And he goes, he writes, goes, here, sign this, I'm going to give you $1 million. Oh, you don't got a pen, do you? Supply and demand. It was great. You know, it's not that. It's just it's fun. It's a fun thing to explore the whole sell me the pen thing.
Yeah.
So good.
Really good.
I'm gonna check that out. So I love it, Sandy. How about your what's an update on your?
Thank you for asking. It's last minute. Right now we're launching January 1st.
Okay.
So our next podcast, I should be talking about the wonderful launch of the Rockstar Your Mind app. Thank you so much for asking. And what about you guys? What's next for you, Glenn, Francesca?
Me, I'm going to do always my online sessions when I want to do them, because sometimes I feel people just need company and I want to say it live. I don't want to give company to anyone. Let's make it clear. So I love giving spiritual guidance when there is a pattern to be solved. So I will always keep so. And then there are a few things when I come back to London. I don't know if I want to expose them now because I want to keep it in intimacy. There's any, you know, my dinners are very, I don't want to connect everyone because connection for me, it's about intimacy nowadays. It's not like I used to be where we were celebrating these huge parties where everyone was connecting. I evolve, so my work evolves. And I don't, you know, so I keep it intimate, but I love this association with food and hypnotism is what I love the most of my mission at the moment.
Nice. And next year, so we'll see. I got a couple things cooking, but the next Break Free seminar will be probably the first weekend in March. I'm going to start releasing footage next week or even over this weekend from what happened at my seminar. It was out of control. Out of control.
I
So
can't
many
wait
amazing.
to see it. And plus, will you repost something with fire and just tag me so I can see you?
I'll send you a link to. You can watch one of the ones, a few of the ones with fire on it.
All right.
So.
And somebody commented they wanted to know if we're all hypnotists. Glenn and I are full-time hypnotherapists. Francesca is a trained hypnotist, and you use it with mostly food and healing. Is that right?
Hypnotist, not hypnotherapist. Yes, I do it very creatively, and of course I adopt my method, which you do too, guys. That's why I believe we are very special in general. We don't follow a protocol or a systematic approach. It's very personal. It's about how we are also. I find it very special.
Yeah, and if people want to read more about us, Glenn, what's the name of our podcast website? Is it called The Three Ways or just Three? What's the website?
Threewayspodcast.com, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know.
Yes, it's not the Three Ways podcast, is Three Way Podcast. I remember because I did once the mistake. I will remember always.
Let me look.
The number 3 wayspodcast.com.
Yeah.
And then you can read all about us.
Yeah. And guys, don't be shy. We want you live. I mean, you see how playful we are. Why are you shy?
Yeah. This is it.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, anytime. All of you watching, if you want to come on and get hypnotized, we'd love to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Next week,
still confirmed. Right?
The next week will be, well, the next one will be in the new year. So I think we'll make that a mass hypnosis where we'll bring as many people on as humanly possible for the new year.
Good.
So we're all good. So I'll see all of you in 2 weeks.
Yay.
See you. Yes, guys. So nice to see you as always.
Happy everything.
Right.
So many baci. Ciao. Ciao. Baci.